So now we're at 1,288 cases, the highest number in 33 years. And the vaccination rate for kindergarten kids now today is 92.7%. You need 95% to get that herd immunity that's so important. I mean, these are diseases that have been eradicated. Same thing with polio. I mean, in other parts of the world where we're not providing, polio vaccines anymore. I mean, it's just,
Or
I think
HIV, where we're not providing that anymore,
HIV.
and where we aren't providing food that USAID used to provide. I mean, there's so many awful things that are happening. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Jill.
I'm so glad to be able to talk to you today because I'm really concerned about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And you brought to my attention that a lawsuit has been filed against him by several medical groups. Tell me about it.
Yes. So apparently it's the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Physicians, the American Public Health Association, and it was filed on behalf of a woman doctor who's actually pregnant. It came after RFK Jr. announced on social media on May 27th. He said in a post on social, it said, quote, "I couldn't be more pleased that as of today, the COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedules."
But is that true? Is
That,
CDC going along with him?
well, it's murky. It's very murky because if you go to the CDC, there are still recommendations. There has been some reporting that it's very confusing and that you really need to consult your doctors. But if he gets his way, he wants it removed, I guess he's got the power to do that, which is scary.
Well, only because he has the power to fire everyone that he's been doing. He's removed the panel of experts on vaccines. So
Right.
what's going to happen? Well, we know
Right.
one thing, measles is going to increase.
Yeah, 17 fired all 17 members of an independent panel that they're the ones that make the vaccine recommendations. Right. Replace them with people who do not have the knowledge. They don't have the experience. And I mean, that's what's so scary. In the lawsuit, it said the decision to remove pregnant women and healthy children was deemed arbitrary and capricious and in violation of federal law that governs how these decisions are made. So as a lawyer, Joe, what does this mean? Like if they
well,
take
as
this
a human
it was
being,
filed in Massachusetts because that's where some of the plaintiffs are from.
Right. But let me just say, as a citizen of this country, as a human being, as a person who reads and understands at a basic level science. And remember, I started college as an occupational therapy major and dropped out because I couldn't stand the sight of blood. But I would say I'm taking my doctor's advice, which is get the COVID vaccine. I also was supposed to go to, I'm not supposed to, I was headed to Texas during the worst outbreak of measles in our history. And I called my doctor to ask whether I needed a measles update. And because of my age, I am immune. I've had measles, and so I don't need the vaccine. But please, everyone who's listening to Susan and me today, please make sure that you check. Either go to your doctor and get an immunity test to see whether you need the immunity shot for measles. And there is an expected upturn in COVID this summer. So I am heading after this show to my Walgreens to get my COVID vaccine, which you do need, and which is still definitely recommended for anyone my age or anybody with an immune compromised. But it still looks like on the CDC website that pregnant women and healthy children are still on the list and should be able to get it. And I hope that your insurance company will pay for it. If it doesn't, I want to know about it, and I want to be able to fight for you for your insurance coverage. But I want to talk about one other thing besides this terrible action by the Secretary of supposed Health and Human Services. He also has this saying of make America healthy again, but he is now recommending something called Mom's Meals, which is a $7 per meal paid for by Medicare and Medicaid, which is contrary to the recommendations that he has for making no ultra processed food to increase health. This product does not have the dyes that he has opposed and that companies are now dropping. It doesn't have, I don't think, any of the fructose that is so awful, sugar, bad for us. No one is against making America healthy. No one is against improving our diets. But if you're going to do that, you don't start funding a meal delivery system that includes ultra processed food. There are ways to deliver healthy, fresh food, not processed. So what can we do about this mom's meals?
I think it just speaks to his overall incompetence. I mean, you're looking at somebody who, first of all, it's my opinion that this whole measles thing is on him. It's his fault. He did this. And, when I think I told you I was with the National Press Foundation as a fellow to study vaccines in 2019. At that time, there was a very small outbreak in Washington state. And I was with 20 other journalists who were all studying vaccines with Fauci. It was a 5-alarm fire with just this, they were trying to locate anyone who had been in the airport near these people because of measles. So now we're at 1,288 cases, the highest number in 33 years. And the vaccination rate for kindergarten kids now today is 92.7%. You need 95% to get that herd immunity that's so important. I mean, these are diseases that have been eradicated. Same thing with polio. I mean, in other parts of the world where we're not providing, polio vaccines anymore. I mean, it's just.
Or
I
HIV, where we're not providing that anymore.
HIV.
And where we aren't providing food that USAID used to provide. I mean, there's so many awful things that are happening. But, you said his incompetence, but he's reckless. He and his children went swimming in Rock Creek, which, by the way, I used to live literally overlooking Rock Creek Park. And that is a contaminated water that says do not swim.
Why?
And
because fetal contamination,
yes.
high levels of bacteria, E. coli. There has been swimming banned there for 50 years, and he took his kids there and took pictures.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, this is not someone you should be taking health advice from or who should be running our health system. This is ridiculous.
So I think this lawsuit's hopeful. I mean, I'm hoping this is the beginning of the end of him, maybe, because this man cannot continue to direct the health of the American people. He's going to end up killing people. It's terrible.
So everyone, pay attention to what your doctor says and what science says. And I just have to take a little promotion for Al Hunt and James Carvell have a podcast also produced by Politicon, and they are doing a survey or taking a vote on who is the most dangerous person in the cabinet. So you might want to vote for RFK. You might want to vote for, I guess it includes non-exec cabinet because Stephen Miller is right now winning the competition. But go on the website for their podcast and vote and take into account what Susan and I are saying today. And thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. And we hope to hear from you. Write to us either through Politicon or on Just the Facts or through my website, JillWineBanks.com.